welcome and congratulations. So these
Thank
students
you.
are on session number 3. So they have a total of 8 evening sessions, and where they are now, you sat a few weeks ago. So tell them a little bit about your journey and any words of advice that you can offer.
I went to LIU Brooklyn and I did the accelerated nursing program. I already had a bachelor's. Um, I felt once I graduated, I was really happy, obviously, but I mean, it's not, it's like, for me, at least from my experience, I was happy for like a week, but then it's like it's not over. You still have to take this exam, and you hear so many different people's experience on it, and everyone has a different way of studying for it. But I will say that I really just had no guidance, no idea on how to start studying. I was really lost. Like the first month, I'm like, I don't know what I don't know, and I don't like. I'm like, I just felt so lost. Um, so I took the NCLEX my first time in December, and I got all 145 questions, and I did not pass. And once I came out of the testing center, I had a feeling in my heart. I was like, I know I didn't pass, and I knew because a lot of the questions I really, really just like did not know. Like I was just like guessing. I wasn't even making educated guesses at that point because I felt like the common theme throughout everything, the whole test, was content, and I knew that I was not 110% sure about my content because when I came out, when I was taking that test, I was literally like questioning every single choice, and I felt like every choice was like correct. So I felt like my content was not there, and I just really didn't know where, like, how to start, where to start. um I gave myself a break, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give myself a break. I'm the type of person where if I don't know something, if I need help, I do like to ask for help. So I did reach out to like a couple of like fellow nurses that I know. I live in Long Island, New York. So I reached out to a couple of there's like a Long Island nurses page. So I had written a post about I failed. I don't know what I could use, if anyone knows any resources. And a lot of the nurses there were like, oh, I took Ready to Pass 10 years ago, 9 years ago. I took it last semester and I passed on my first try. So a lot of them were commenting on, Ready to Pass. I never heard of Ready to Pass. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, I'm gonna just take this course. A lot of people are recommending it. And I just felt like Ready to Pass really helped me out as far as content, because I feel like you could use whatever question bank out there. Like you can get the most expensive one, the least expensive. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it comes down to content. And I know people don't like to hear that. And they think that, oh, I'm going to use this question bank, it's going to help me out more than this other one. And it doesn't, because after I took Ready to Pass, I literally just 2 weeks, I was just doing questions, questions, questions. And I just felt like my score went up. Like I wasn't scoring average. And I was like, the only difference that I made was use Ready to Pass. So I felt like I really do believe in Ready to Pass. I feel like it really goes over and just simplifies what you need to know. And that book is very helpful. I'm not gonna I went over, I highlighted things that I was not sure of. Like peds and maternity are my weakest subjects. So I constantly read through it, took notes. But honestly, I feel like that book is like your Bible because it really does simplify. It gets straight to the point. You're not having to, like, you're not looking for any other resources. Like sometimes I felt like with the question banks, it's like, okay, it explains it to me, but I still don't get it. I still don't really understand it. And I felt like having somebody like an instructor, like Miss Sylvain, be there and you can ask questions and you can participate. I feel like that's really helpful, and I felt like you need that, because clearly, like, what, just because you graduated nursing school, that doesn't mean you know everything. um I also did do the management of care classes. I did the first one and I did the second one too, and I wasn't going to do it. I was just like, I don't know, I was just kind of like, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I already spent a lot of money on the whole entire course. I don't know, but I know it was like $25, but I was like, you know what? I remember Miss Sylvain said, you're gonna make this, like, the money is gonna come back to you. Like, it's not like you're wasting your time or money. So I kind of took her advice and I was like, you know what? I signed up for the class literally last minute. And the first management of care, we were doing questions, and I was and I came into like 16th place, 16 or 17 in Kahoot. And the second class, I honestly, I didn't even realize it until another student in the class had a message in the Zoom chat and was like, oh, Daisy, like, you made such a huge improvement. Like, you're number one today, and like yesterday you were 16. And I honestly didn't even realize it. Like, I was just like answering the questions, and just, I feel like everything was just coming together. Like, I went to test, when did I test? February 13th, February 13th. And I passed, and I did the Pearson trick. I got the good pop-up, and I was crying. I couldn't believe it. I was like, finally. It's just like such an overwhelming feeling of joy, and I was just really proud of myself. And I reached out to Ready to Pass, and I told them, like, I would not have been able to pass, because the first time I really did feel like I was really devastated, and I was really upset, because it's not just about the test, but I was talking to other classmates of mine that passed before I did, and they were going on interviews, and they were like, yeah, like, these interviews are like crazy. Like, they don't ask you like simple questions like, oh, why do you want to be a nurse? They kind of really tone into your content. Like, they want to know like what you know and what you don't know, and they really are going to ask you questions like, okay, like, tell me the signs and symptoms of left-sided heart failure, or what would you do in, like, if a patient has a stroke, like, what are the interventions that you're going to focus in on? And I was like, wow, like, I'm glad I took this course, because not only is it going to help me pass my NCLEX, but it's also going to help me out for like the real world when I have interviews. And I actually have an interview next week, so I'm prepared. Everything is still fresh in my mind. I'm just really thankful.
Daisy, thank you so much for sharing your testimony, because sometimes students don't like to share their testimony because they don't want anybody to know that they failed. And were you the one that was telling me that you used like your last money for the class?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I thought that it was you. Share a little bit about that, because that must have been very, very scary for you.
Yeah, so I worked part-time as a pharmacy technician in a hospital, and once I failed the first time, I was like, okay, I really need to focus in studying full-time. And I had to drop down to per diem, and it was like the last paycheck, because with per diem you are not guaranteed a set of hours. Like, part-time, you're guaranteed that set of hours. So I knew my paycheck was going to change, and it was obviously going to decrease, because I was just going to look to pick up like every other weekend. I did have, so it was like my last paycheck that I got full time, and it was like $700. And the course is like 500 and something. And I remember I did the early bird, and I was like, do I really want to give away like this last set of like full paycheck to like this course? I really was questioning it. I was like, maybe if I just keep doing what I was doing, but I was like, clearly that didn't work for me. And I just decided, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take this chance. And I was like, I'm gonna enroll in the course. And if I had to go back and if I had that choice, I would still do it again, because again, I really do feel like they really did help. Like I feel like it, not only did it help with the content, but it just helped me gain my confidence back, because I know I was like, when I came out of nursing school, I'm like, I knew I graduated with a grade above a 3.5 GPA. So when I failed, I was like, I know my content. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I just felt like I regained my confidence. And when I went in to take that test the second time, I wasn't scared. Like, I went in calmly. And on the whiteboard, I wrote my first name, my last name, and I put RN. And I manifested it, and it happened. And I'm just really grateful for my decisions and just listening to my intuition and believing in myself, because I felt like it's hard to like sit down and for this test. I feel like the hardest part is like believing in yourself that you can do it. But I'm just glad everything happens for a reason, and I'm not embarrassed or shy to share my story, because I know it's going to help somebody out there.
Daysi, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and you just seem so sincere and so genuine, and I'm so happy and excited for you, because your sacrifice was not in vain, and we know that you're going to be working very soon. And what kind of salary ranges are you hearing? I know you said you're in New York City, but what kind of salary are you hearing?
So I'm going to be completely transparent. As a pharmacy technician, I get $26 an hour. And I was talking to, because I have some friends that are nurses, and also too, I did a phone interview screening as well, and they really liked me. So that's why I'm going in next week for the in-person. But when I did the phone screen, she did say, she was like, for new grads, you're looking at for my hospital, you're looking around like 87 with no experience.
87,000 or $87 an hour?
87,000 a year.
87,000 starting. Okay.
Starting with no experience.
Okay.
So I did the math and everything, and I was like, wow, like that is almost like close to like double than what I'm getting right now. So I was just like really happy, like, to just hear that, because I've sacrificed so much, like not just like spending time, but I've just like been, I used to work full time, and then I had to drop down to part time, and then even drop down even more to per diem. But I feel like everything is worth it. So, every sacrifice, you're going to see like your hard work come out of it. So
congratulations, and thank you for sharing with us. Your new salary and your new career is definitely going to be game changing for you. And we thank you for taking time out of your busy day in order to share with us. If anybody has any questions, I'll give them like 2 minutes. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day today.
Oh, you're welcome.